I'll find out where this highway takes me. You know I've got to travel on. Jordan River's where you'll find me. It's hard but not too wide to go.
I had been aware of The Ugliest Pilgrim, which is a short story upon which Violet is based, and it was a short film that starred Didi Khan, and I saw it on Showtime. And in the back of my mind, I always thought that would make an interesting musical. I wasn't even composing at the time. This is really way back in the day. But I stored it in the file cabinet, which is, if you could only see the file cabinet in my mind, you would know it's not easy to retrieve things from. But I always thought about it. And so when I made the decision to leave arranging and conducting for a little while, I went right back to it. And that happened to time out with meeting Brian. And I thought, well, that's going to be a perfect match. I wonder if he's interested. And he was. And we got the rights through a really circuitous route, and then started writing. Went to the O'Neill Lincoln Center, Playwrights Horizons, and then 17 years later, we opened on Broadway.
As I'm going, I carry with me promises that can't go wrong as I travel on.
The problem that you face with adaptation is that when you fall in love with a story with somebody's piece of writing, your initial impulse is to follow very faithfully what you start with, and that doesn't always work when you're translating from one medium to another. And I know that the first step we took, we'd written about one act's worth, and we went to the O'Neill, and that's a process where you do a lot of work and you do a reading after a week, and then you do a lot more work and you do another reading after a week. And after the first week's reading, we realized we had been much too faithful, and we'd written basically a tone poem that didn't have a lot of dramatic texture to it. So at that point, we realized that in order to sort of make a piece that we loved as much as we loved the story, we had to get our distance from it. And so we made a lot of changes. It's a very strong first-person narrative. So when you read that story, after the 12 pages of it, you have a very strong idea who Violet is. But everybody else is filtered through her perceptions, and you get little bits and pieces. Some people are drawn more than others, but the characters of Flick and Monty and the preacher doesn't even appear in the story, were things that we had to flesh out for ourselves.
So Violet, promise, 'cause I'll be waiting for you.
I think for both Brian and for me, the story had a really compelling lead character. And in a short story, which is really hard for a musical because there's no B story really, it's just one story and one journey. I think the character has to have a lot to her or to him, because you're going to spend a lot of time and you're going to peel back the onions of their character and say, like, well, what's this and what's this and what's this? So you keep revealing something because you're going to stay with them for the whole evening. And I love the musical terrain, and Brian's family is like, his family has all these experiences that my family didn't have, and so together we sort of had this a lot in our arsenal, musically and historically, that we could, I think, bring to the story. And we knew Doris, we met Doris, and that was a really great collaboration, being with the person who wrote the source material.
As I travel on.